Hey guys, it's Catherine, and today I'm going to show you how you can quickly create a bullet journal in GoodNotes 5 and just some tips that I've been using for my bullet journal. Now, bullet journaling is something that I've always loved, but I don't really do it. I've actually just started taking it seriously, and it is helping with my to-do list. You'll see here I'm in the last week of June, and I am trying to get in a mindset where I feel like I don't have to focus much on appearance, and all I really need to focus on is writing my list. Now, to some people that just comes easily, but for me, I feel like I want my journals to be pretty. So it's actually really hard to go back to basics and back to simplicity when you're all about lettering and color and stuff like that. So even though I am struggling with trying not to decorate my pages, this bullet journal system has helped me tremendously as far as keeping up with everything that needs to be done each day. And since it's done digitally, I can move things around so much easier than I would be able to in a paper bullet journal. To create a bullet journal in GoodNotes 5, all you need is the app. You don't need to purchase a bullet journal anywhere else. Of course you can, you absolutely can, but if you want something simple just like this, you can use templates that are already within the app. All you have to do is go to your main screen, select New, select Notebook, and then from here, you can choose your paper style. So if you look at this menu right here, I have white paper selected. You can actually select the size of your template right here. You can select what paper color you want to see as well. They have white, or if you have all selected, then you see both white and yellow, or you can see just strictly yellow. And in this menu, this is where you would select the orientation of your planner. So the bullet journal that I've created for myself is in portrait mode, but they also have landscape mode if you want to plan in the landscape format. And then they have all of these paper styles to choose from. If you want yours to be more like a traditional bullet journal, you would choose the dotted paper. And then here are your covers. So they have a lot of really cute covers already built in to this app. They've got some really pretty patterns. You can also create your own cover, which is what I did. If you create your own cover, you can just select no cover, and then once you've created the notebook, you can import an image that you design in Procreate or purchase online or find online, whatever you want to do, and just move it to be the first thumbnail in your thumbnail menu. So for example, if I wanted this index to be the cover, I would just drag and drop that here, and now when I go back to my menu, you'll see that's the cover. But I created a cover for this, so I'm sliding that back over, and now I've got my original cover right here. So in this video, I'm just going to show you my methods for setting up my monthly calendar. I'm going to be setting up my July calendar, and then I'm going to show you a quick way to create headers like this in Procreate and then bring those into GoodNotes. You can do it very easily, very quickly, and then you can do the rest of your writing in GoodNotes. So whenever you're creating an element for your bullet journal that you've created in GoodNotes, whenever you're creating an element for it in Procreate, I recommend that you export a page from your planner so you can work with the dots from the dot grid. So I'm actually going to create a new page, and I'm going to show you how to export it. I've actually already exported a page from the planner and put it in Procreate, so I've already done this step, but this is how you would do it. To add a new page to your bullet journal, you can just swipe like this, and then you'll see where it says release to add page, and then you just release and you've got a new blank page. So now when I go to my thumbnails, I have a new page to work with. To export just this page, you can go right here to this arrow, select export this page, and then you would want to export it as an image, and it'll save it to your camera roll, and then you can just hit export. Now this might not be the case for you, but it is the case for me. Unfortunately, they have removed the option to save this image to my camera roll. I think this is some sort of bug in the version of GoodNotes 5 that I'm using, but since I want to use it in Procreate, I could just select copy to Procreate and it would import it to Procreate for me. So I've already done this, and you'll see this is my basic Bujo stack, and this page right here is exactly like what is in my GoodNotes bullet journal. So I like to set up my monthly calendar just like this in Procreate. So to do that, I copy the blank template that I like to keep right here. So I'm just going to hit select and then select that and then click on duplicate. And now I'm going to go into this duplicated canvas. And before I make my July header, I'm going to create a new layer. I have a color chart that I like to keep here. I've got these amazing Procreate brushes that I've purchased that I will link to in the video description that are just like Copic markers that I love so much, and it comes with this color chart. So that's all that is right there. So I just keep that hidden, and I am going to create a new layer, and I'm going to number 1 through 31 down here. So I'm going to start towards the top, and I'm going to use my dots as a guide. And I know it's really blurry when I zoom in, but when I zoom out, you can't tell that it's blurry. So there's 1 through 16, and I can tell I'm not going to have enough space down here to put all 31 days on this side, which is fine. So I am going to create a new layer, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to start with 17 and then go to 31. And this isn't how I'm going to space these in the final result. I'm just using my dots as a guide, and then I can move things around very easily since these are on separate layers and since I'm in Procreate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my first layer, and I'm going to move this down. So I've got magnetics turned on because I want to keep that lined up with where it is, and I'm just moving this down. But since I worked with my dots, you'll see that my numbers, even with moving it down, I can still keep it aligned with the dots. So now I want to move this other row, and I'm just going to eyeball this. I've still got magnetics turned on, so I'm going to move it over at first. And this right here mostly looks like halfway. It's probably not exact, but that's fine. And now I'm going to select it again and then move it down again. And by the way, I'm so sorry about my nails and my hands and everything. I have not been feeling well, and my kids have not been feeling well, so my nails have not even been remotely a priority in a very long time. So please just bear with me on that. So anyway, now I'm just going to create a huge header. So I am going to keep my header black, and I'm just going to write July pretty big. Okay, so I'm going to move that up just a little bit. And like I said, I don't want to focus too much on decorating. I feel like it's me, and I do have to do something a little bit decorative, but this is still pretty minimal. And what I like to do now is create a layer behind that, and then I actually really like to use these Copic markers for this bullet journal, which is why I have this color chart saved in my default template, so I can color match that and then come in with one of these markers and create just a basic background. I believe the shop that sells these Procreate brushes is called Bordeaux Brush, but I might be mispronouncing it. I've never watched the videos or anything on them. I just bought them because I saw them on Instagram and they looked amazing, but I will link to them in the video description, and I fully intend to watch her videos because from what I've seen on Instagram, she's amazing. So Anyway, there's that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge my July header, and I'm actually going to go into side-by-side view for GoodNotes. So to have GoodNotes as my main screen, I need to open GoodNotes, and then I can pull up my dashboard and then drag Procreate over to the side. And now I can just drag and drop these layers where I want them to go. So first I'm going to start with my first number layer, which is numbers 1 through 16, and I can just drag that over. And then I can crop, and I just want to get these numbers. You could technically do this with the whole canvas, but I find it so much easier to do it piece by piece, just row by row. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and bring these other elements over and then just resize them one by one. So now I can drag that and crop. And now I can drag my July header and crop. So now I'm going to just close that. Okay, so I've got those fixed. So now I'm going to place these. That looks like the halfway point. Possibly. I don't know. And now I can just resize this header. And this does take practice, getting it perfect on the dot grid. I'm obviously still practicing that, but we'll get there. So now that this is set up, I can just quickly fill in some important dates. So I like to do this part in GoodNotes. So the 10th is my Patreon deadline. The 10th at the latest is when I send out the monthly Patreon newsletters. But usually they're sent out way before the 10th. But I'm just putting this here, and that's the beauty of actually writing it in GoodNotes, because I can go back and change this when I actually release the newsletter, which likely will be by the 4th at the latest. And I know my handwriting is not good in GoodNotes. I usually actually tilt my iPad, but I can't do that because I'm filming. So there's what I have for the 10th. On the 12th, I've got Sunny's art show. And the 24th, I have a doctor's appointment. So for now, I'm just going to write doctor. I'll go back and go into more detail there later. And I'm actually going to be out of town the 13th through the 20th. So what I'm going to do for those dates is I'm just going to write beach. And then I'm going to turn on my shapes. And I'm going to draw a straight line. And that way I know that extends. And then here I'm going to do the same thing. All right, and then, oh, I hate how I wrote that. Sometimes I can't let it go, y'all. Sometimes I have to rewrite something if it's that bad. What I do from here is I go to my index, and July now starts on page 5, so I'm adding that to my index right here. Another reason I wanted to do bullet journaling in GoodNotes with the primary focus on writing being in GoodNotes is because I want to improve my handwriting in GoodNotes. See, I write better when I can tilt my iPad, even though that's still not great. It's better than this. Okay, so here's my July calendar right now. I know it's not super busy, but it's there. So now I'm going to add another page, and I'm going to show you what I do for my weekly headers. I'm going to duplicate my template, and then I'm going to start a new layer, And on each layer, I'm going to write my date. So I actually want to do it a little differently than I did it for my last week. I want to use some banner stamps, which I know I have somewhere. So I'm going to duplicate this 7 times, and I'll probably have to size down some, and that's fine. All right. So now, on top of each of these, I'm going to write my dates. All right, so I decided about halfway through that I want to fill in these banners. So I'm going to do that really quickly, just in pink, by dragging and dropping. It would have been so much better if I would have decided that first, because then I could just copy and paste. Okay, so those are pretty simple daily headers that you can create in Procreate. I just used some stamps and then my handwriting, and then I did spend a little time, you know, filling them in, whatever. But it just adds kind of a fun element. I don't know. I think it's fun to do. It still doesn't take a lot of time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up GoodNotes. I'm already on my weekly page, and now I'm going to pull Procreate to the side. And this is what I like to do. I actually have no plans set in stone for this upcoming week, for the first week of July. It's not realistic for me to plan my weeks this far in advance unless I have something huge coming up. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring in these dates, but then the beauty of GoodNotes is that I can move them around as needed when it is time for me to create my list. So I'm just going to drag one layer at a time and then crop, and then just kind of move it out of the way. And now I'm actually going to go ahead and size all of these down just a little bit. They're not going to be stacked exactly where I want them to be, but I just go ahead and kind of space them out just a little. On Sunday, when I actually sit down and plan out this week, it will look something like this, where I use my shapes tool to create my check boxes, and then I write everything that needs to be done. Or if there's like one major overall task with some mini tasks, I write it like this, and then I cross off what I get done. And my migration symbol is just an arrow. I put that in the box, and then I just copy and paste it onto the next day or the next time that I'm able to do it. So Like on Monday, we didn't go to the mall to get my son shoes for school like we had originally planned, and I knew we couldn't do it the next day either, so I moved that to Wednesday, but you get the idea. I also created an area that says move to next week, and that will be for anything that absolutely has to get done that I didn't get done this week. I'll copy and paste that down there, and then I'll know to move that over to this week. Here, I'm not going to create that header for this page yet just because I haven't even begun to plan this page yet, but I hope this video was even helpful. I just wanted to show my new method for functional planning, which, obviously isn't a new idea, but it's new to me in terms of using this for my business and my personal life. I have really failed at functional planning in the past since becoming a work-at-home mom, and so I'm really trying to step it up because I really need to increase my productivity so freaking much. So I really do think this is going to be a helpful method for me, and I hope that this video shows you how you can be a completely functional, simple planner while bringing in random little decorative elements from Procreate that don't take a lot of time. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions at all. I'm happy to help. The best place to get in touch with me is Facebook, and you can either ask questions in my Naptime Alternative Facebook group, or you can send me a message on Facebook. Subscribe to my channel for more digital planning tutorials, digital bullet journaling videos, because I am going to do more of these in the future, and digital plan with me videos, and check out my website naptimealt.com, where there's tons of planner related freebies that you can download now. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.